are so excited to go to school. I like all my friends to play with me. Aliana's my best friend, and Mia's my best friend, and Lucia's my best friend, and Bella's my best friend, and Francis my best friend too.
There's a strong history here at Eleanor Whitmore's Early Childhood Center on education. This organization has always had education sitting right alongside the need for high-quality childcare, and that makes us unique.
What do you think that book's about? What do you see on the cover or the back cover?
Language is something that's inherent. In other words, it's not really taught. And, most little children acquire language just by what they hear from their adults around them, from their peers, if their peers are talking, but they absorb everything, and so pretty soon words become their power. So they actually start to develop their own voice if they're allowed to use the words that they know. And so one of the goals here at our center is to start letting children use the words that they have and help them acquire more words. When I first came here, I would go out and greet the parents and children coming in, and I would bend down and say to the children, "Can you tell me what your name is?" And invariably, the parent would give me the name of their child. So it took about 2 weeks of doing this every morning before the parents really realized that I wasn't interested in them telling me what their child's name was, but I was interested in their children articulating. It's really important that you distinguish yourself and that you are known by your name. Anytime you go anywhere and people know your name, it just makes such a difference than someone who really doesn't know your name.
What's your name?
Axel.
And what's your name?
Lilia.
And you, what's your name?
I'm Denisha.
And what's your name?
Henry. And it's gonna be a rainbow.
It's gonna be a rainbow, you're right.
It's gonna be a rainbow. This is a rainbow for my mommy.
One of our teachers has them draw different pictures of things when they first come into the pre-kindergarten classroom, and then at the end of the year she has them draw the same things at the end, and then they stand up and they compare the two together. And just in those two pictures you can actually see the amazing growth that takes place in a short period of time. And that's why you see kids doing lots of things over and over again at first until they get a habit or they develop a trait for it. And then once they develop that habit and trait, then you see them fine-tune it and it gets more sophisticated.
Yeah, look at mine.
Very cool.
You want to see mine?
Yeah. What is this one?
A tree.
A tree?
You didn't see mine.
I didn't. What is that?
It's ocean.
Back up like a giraffe.
The job of teachers here, and I think all of them help each other, is bringing that consistency into the classroom with their children, that they know each one of their children and they make a connection.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Human. Human.
You're human. Wow. Good morning, Joshua. How are you today?
Fast.
You're fast.
One of the things about being a licensed child care center is we have a certain standard we have to meet. And one of the standards has to do with safety and building that trust between parents and the center, that we're taking seriously our role and responsibility of being the caretakers of their children from 7:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the afternoon. And with that comes making sure we know where our children are all the time and they're supervised all the time.
I got this dinosaur. I got this one. Yeah. I like this one.
Why you see a lot of books in the center is because they're so important. It's amazing when children are exposed to that, how meaningful it becomes to them, and especially down the road when reading becomes so important. And part of that is also helping our parents understand how important that is. And so we have a program called Book Time, where every child in preschool gets a library card to the library because we're collaborating with them, and it's in their name, it's not in their parents' name. So they have their own personal library card. We also are helping our parents understand how important it is to use that book at home in order to establish a consistent time to sit down.
Hello, children, someone said in a sweet voice.
Food is so important for our families and for children, for us to talk about and also to be a part of our program here to help children understand that the choices they make really make a difference in their health and well-being. We are working with an organization called Help Me Grow, which has provided us a lot of training and instruction in the classroom and helping teach our children good habits and choices. We do serve breakfast and lunch every day, probably two of the better meals they have during the day. We do have our food pantry where we're providing for 45 families at the center every other week with substantive foods and also fresh produce, which comes from a variety of sources. We really appreciate all the support we get from the town of East Hampton, from the village of East Hampton, from the local school system, from all the providers out here. For our working families, they need high-quality child care, and that's what Eleanor Whitmore wants, and that's what this center has been about for over 50 years.